The hippopotamus, big, kind of slow, a little bit goofy looking. We feel like we know them, right? But what if I told you that this animal is one of the most misunderstood and fascinating creatures on the planet? It's full of paradoxes that just defy what we think we know. So let's deconstruct the hippo. Okay, first up, a number that should really grab your attention, 2,900. That is the estimated number of people killed by hippos in Africa every single year. That doesn't make the lion the deadliest, or the crocodile. It makes the hippo the deadliest large land mammal on the entire continent.
So they're super deadly, and their name literally means river horse. Seems logical, right? You'd assume they're absolute masters of the water. But here's the first paradox. What if I told you the river horse can't actually swim, like at all? And this is where we start to unravel the real truth about the hippo. First up, let's tackle a myth that sounds like it's straight out of a horror movie. You've probably heard this one before, the idea that hippos sweat blood. It's dramatic, it's memorable, and yeah, it's completely wrong. This whole idea goes way, way back to ancient Roman naturalists. Think Pliny the Elder. They saw this red stuff oozing from a hippo's skin and, logically, they just assumed it was blood. But modern science has uncovered something way more incredible. What looks like blood is actually a super sophisticated, built-in natural sunscreen. So let's break this amazing substance down. It actually starts as a clear gel. But when the sun hits it, it pretty quickly turns this reddish-orange color, which totally explains the blood myth, and then eventually it darkens into a brownish color as it thickens. This incredible goo doesn't just act as a powerful sunblock to keep their skin moist. It also has antibiotic properties that help heal wounds they get from their constant fights. It's like a pharmacy and a bottle of sunscreen all produced by their own skin. How cool is that? Okay, so let's move on to our next big myth, the one we hinted at earlier. We see them in the water all the time, so they must be these graceful, powerful swimmers, right? I mean, think about it for a second. Hippos can spend almost 16 hours a day just hanging out submerged in water. Their whole life revolves around the river. So everything about their behavior just screams aquatic expert. It's a totally logical assumption to make. And it is completely wrong. They can't swim, not in any way that we would define swimming. Their bodies are just way too dense to be buoyant. So how do they get around? Well, they sink. It's that simple. Their super dense bodies let them just drop to the bottom of the river. And from there, they walk or do this kind of graceful, slow-motion hop along the riverbed. They can hold their breath for about 5 minutes. And get this, even when they're sleeping, their body has this reflex that automatically brings them to the surface for air before they sink back down again. They're not swimmers, they're masters of walking on the riverbed. Okay, so what about their reputation for being so aggressive? Let's talk about the paradox of their diet versus that infamous gigantic mouth. When a hippo opens its mouth wide and you see those enormous canine teeth, you'd be forgiven for thinking it's a fearsome carnivore. But those teeth, they have almost nothing to do with eating. They are weapons, pure and simple, used for defense and for these absolutely brutal territorial battles with other hippos. In reality, hippos are almost exclusively vegetarians. They leave the water at night and can travel up to 10 kilometers, that's over 6 miles, just to graze. And in one night, they'll eat around 40 kilograms, that's almost 90 pounds of grass. They don't even use their big teeth for it. They just pluck the grass with their tough, broad lips. And speaking of territory, they have one of the most unique ways of marking it in the entire animal kingdom. A dominant male will literally back up, flick its tail like a propeller, and spray dung everywhere. It's a very clear, if pretty messy, message to any rivals. This part of the river is mine. So this is the crucial point. If they don't sweat blood, they can't swim, and they're mostly just peaceful grazers, then why are they so incredibly dangerous to humans? Okay, now we get to the real heart of the paradox. For a hippo, the water is everything. It's where they rest, mate, give birth, and most importantly, it is their safe space, their refuge. When a hippo is out on land and feels threatened, its one and only instinct is to get back to the safety of that water as fast as it possibly can. But here's the thing, those exact same rivers are also a lifeline for millions of people. This creates a shared and often contested space. This is where the conflict begins. People often use the very same paths that hippos have carved out over years to get to and from the water. So you can see what happens. When a person accidentally gets between a startled hippo and its watery home, the hippo isn't attacking out of malice or anger. It's panicking. It's charging toward its only escape route. The attack becomes this tragic accident of someone being in the wrong place at the absolute wrong time, unknowingly blocking that path to safety. So, in the end, the hippo's deadly reputation has way less to do with a bad temper and much more to do with this tragic overlap of habitats. It's a conflict that's born not out of aggression, but out of two species desperately needing the same vital resource to survive.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? If Africa's deadliest large mammal isn't some aggressive monster, but just an animal trying to survive in a shrinking world, it really begs the question, what other parts of the wild have we completely misunderstood?